all, I'd like to thank the Twin Cities. Can you hear me? I'd like to thank the Twin Cities, Jason, for allowing me to be a part of this evening and tonight's banquet. Today, I would like to share my journey to justice and what I learned about the importance of honoring the past and the meaning of patriotism. It is fitting that I will share this podium with Capt, who I had a chance to speak with earlier. Through his work and his oral history interviews, chronicling the journey of our parents and our grandparents, it provides an invaluable opportunity to appreciate, learning, and remembering of the sacrifices of the past. For me, it's been a long journey, a very long journey, to be here with you tonight. But there was a time not too long ago when I failed to fully appreciate the sacrifices of generations past and the true meaning of patriotism. It is fitting that I stand here at the 63rd Annual Chrysanthemum Banquet that reminds us, all of us, of those who have come before us and the sacrifices that have been made. Because years ago, when I went to Marine Corps Officer Candidate School in hopes of serving my country in the military, the sacrifices of generations past was the furthest thing from my mind. I just wanted to be a Marine. For me, patriotism was jingoistic, merely a pressed uniform and a crisp salute. When I entered, I had thought that discrimination was a remnant of the past, that it was over and done with. I entered the 140th Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia, filled with pride and patriotism. But at Officer Candidate School, I was in for a rude awakening. I was the target of persistent racial slurs, unfair treatment, and harassment. During World War II, we whipped your Japanese ass. Hey, you speak English? Well, we don't want your kind around here. Go back to your own country. How ironic. An American whose grandfather came to this country in 1892 as an indentured servant and toiled in the sugar plantations on the Hamakua coast in Hawaii, whose uncle, Daniel Yamashita, fought for this country during World War II as part of the famed 442nd Regimental Combat, and awarded the Purple Heart during the Battle of the Arno River in the hills of Italy. An American whose parents run as head bridge engineer for the state of Hawaii, and the other professor at the University of Hawaii, in their own quiet way, helped to build the 50th state and our nation. After completing the entire 9 weeks of training, I was kicked out of Officer Candidate School due to a failure of leadership, the only subjective part of the evaluation. But I was not alone. John Jefferson, African American, Gabriel Vargas, Bolivian American, and Ronnie Capt, Filipino American, all were kicked out. Unfortunately, I can now say that the only difference was the color of our skin. I returned to Hawaii. My spirit broke. Months went by. I was unemployed and living at home. I was labeled a reject and a failure. The decision to challenge my disenrollment was not an easy one. Friends and family urged me to just move on. In Japanese, it is said, shikatadana. It can't be helped. My mom and dad, perhaps typical of any parents, told me to just move on. For them, the road to success was hard work, education, and most of all, don't make waves. There was a sense that the Japanese American community would not and could not fight an authoritative and powerful institution like the Marine Corps. But in the end, I was haunted by OCS. We don't want your kind around here. Go back to your own country. Well, those words struck at the very core of who I was. Those were fighting words. Win or lose, come hell or high water, this could not stand. I made a decision that would change my life. I made the decision to take on the United States Marine. At my darkest moment, JACL, led by the Honolulu chapter, not just joined the fight, but took a lead role in the struggle. Me and my family owe JACL a debt of gratitude that we can never repay. We worked within the system. It was a carefully planned legal, political, and public relations strategy. The initial Inspector General, Marine Corps Inspector General investigation found that indeed one sergeant had continued to speak to me in broken Japanese throughout the course, but explained that he was just trying to make Yamashita feel more at ease, and that's what he spoke to them in broken Japanese. And I see her just shaking her head. Another sergeant had called me Kawasaki, Yamaha, Yamashita, or some other Japanese product at my name throughout the course. But the IG concluded that that sergeant simply had a history of dyslexic pronunciation of names, and that's why he was engaged in this. It was insulting, it was a whitewash, but in the end, the Marine Corps had all the power, and we had none. Countless good Americans joined the fight and rallied behind the case. Countless individuals volunteered their expertise, attended fundraisers, wrote letters, or simply gave a word of encouragement. I still remember walking down the streets of Honolulu on Baratan Avenue, an old elderly woman came up to me and said, "Bruce," she said, "yes," and she was waiting at the bus stop, and she opened her purse on fixed income, and she brought out a $5 bill, and she said, "We're gone." Of course, we were attacked in letters to the editor, letters that said, "What you're doing is un-American, that it was wrong, that you're a coward." Indeed, one said, "Why don't you go back to it?" With mounting political and media pressure, the Marine Corps ordered a second IG investigation. It took 6 months, but this time it substantiated numerous incidents of racial discrimination, harassment, and unfair treatment. Unfortunately, the remedy to allow me to go back to OCS, redo the course, and do it again was totally unacceptable. To have me go back to the same institution that had harassed me before was totally unacceptable. We fired back a letter demanding an immediate commission and the revision of Marine Corps standing operating procedures to prohibit the sort of racial harassment and discrimination that occurred. We waited for a response, which never came. Months went by.